Divorce happens. In fact, it happens to almost 50% of first marriages. So let's talk about it. Welcome to Divorce Happens, a podcast to educate, inspire, support, and yes, make you laugh through divorce and beyond so that you can start fresh on the next phase of your journey. Remember, divorce happens, and then we start fresh.
You'll get divorced. You'll get divorced.
Getting divorced?
I'm getting a divorce.
You're getting a divorce.
Because she's getting a divorce.
So what if I get divorced?
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Divorce Happens, the show where we support you before, during, and after divorce with education, inspiration, and a little bit of laughter. Because as we know, divorce happens and then you start fresh. And we're here today with Lindsey. Lindsey, can you give us a little bio on who you are?
Yeah, of course. My name is Lindsey Andrews. I am a divorce attorney and now a divorce coach. I've been practicing family law for over 20 years now, and I am located in Oklahoma City permanently. But for the next year, I'm with my kiddo in Rome, Italy, for while he's in high school. So, yeah.
That's cool. I've also never been to Rome, and I studied Latin my whole life, so I have to get there someday. So I'm excited you're here because part of what we do on this podcast is really help people with the educational aspect and the moving ahead, right? The fresh start aspect of divorce. So as somebody that works with people for 20 years going through divorce, I would love to hear 3 of the lessons that you've kind of taken away from watching and dealing and being steeped in divorce all day long that you maybe see your clients learn also along the process. What does that look like?
So I would say that one of the main reasons why people come to me is my tenacity. I don't really do any kind of advertising. I'm pretty much, I'm kind of a bulldog in my day-to-day life. I mean, it's just kind of what I'm known for. I don't usually back down from anything. There's nothing that scares me. And I think that one of the things that I am able to give to my clients is, and you know this from, your own experience, but you don't have a lot of grit and determination in the middle of your process, right? And so one of the things that I fully claim as my own is I loan you mine during that process. I tell my clients a lot that if it is a email that needs to be sent or a decision that needs to be made, you are allowed to have my determination on loan. That's what you pay me for. And I feel like through that process and me working with clients that once, mainly women, because that's not normally how we're built, right? So most of the time, by the end of that process of our time together and by the finalization of that part of your life, my clients have gotten so used to being able to know what that response needs to be, if it needs to be leveled up a little bit in grit and determination. And I feel like they are allowed to and do carry that in every aspect of their life after that divorce is final. And so that's probably after 20 plus years of doing this, that's what I'm the most proud of is it's kind of what we're supposed to do as humanity anyway, right? Like I'm supposed to pick up the slack for you in an area that you're not the most comfortable in. It's why I have a therapist, right? It's why I have a tax accountant. They pick up those pieces of my life because that's not where I'm the strongest. That's my role as an attorney. Yes, I can lead you through the legal side of it. Lots of lawyers can. But to be able to watch my clients transform their personalities into just having the confidence to say, no, these are my boundaries. This is what I am expecting for myself and for other people. That is one of the most profound things I think I have learned from my clients is just the transference of energy from girl, I got you to watching them have it themselves. And it's empowering and it's one of the very cores of who I am. And I love this damn job. I love it.
I love that. I love that because so much of what we do here too is like empowering people, with picking out, and as silly as it sounds, but like new sheets and new items and things. Because it is those small decisions that snowball, right? And so I love that you said, like, you can borrow my, chutzpah, basically, right, throughout this time. And that really does, like, it's almost like you have to fake it till you make it type of thing.
Mhm.
And so I'm sure your clients walk away feeling like that determination and that empowered feeling they can apply to so many different decisions. Maybe it's buying a new house or deciding on a new job. So I love that. And you do need it when you're going through divorce. So absolutely. What's something else that you've learned from watching people go through this?
I think that one of the things I have learned from watching my clients is that everybody has a different point that is the end for them, right? And so I'm actually working on a book with my book coach, and we titled it Just by the Basil. And the reason why is I had a client that long term marriage, they had kids were grown, and every week, he felt like he was helping her by her giving him a grocery list. And every week for, 20 something plus years on that grocery list, she said, I would just really appreciate it if you would bring home a basil plant. I like the way it smells. I like the way it looks in my kitchen. And he never did.
Mm,
And that was the story that she told me in her office after all of the things, after raising their kids, after supporting his job, after, taking that step back for all those years. She just said, Lindsay, it wasn't ever about the basil, but the basil made it about everything else.
mm,
And so I think everybody that goes through this scenario has that moment, right? You have that did you buy the basil moment. And watching my clients, it's different for everyone. It's the level of, just disconnectivity between people sometimes and what brings you to that point. It's why one of my favorite things to ask my male clients is, "Oh, did this really come out of nowhere for you? Tell me about that." And then they tell me and I'm like, "It really didn't come out of nowhere, did it?" So sometimes I think it takes that, realization of how to go forward in your next
mhm,
relationship. But I think the thing I've learned from my clients is that as humans, we all just have a different breaking point or the things that we're not willing to put up with any further.
mhm,
Um, I've been married to the same man as long as I've been a divorce attorney. So I've got a 20-year plus marriage and a 20 plus year legal career doing divorce, which is weird, right? And he was married, he's a little bit older than me, and he was married before. And he always says, my first marriage and the things that I learned about myself and her through that process make me a better husband now.
mm, mhm,
That's not always true for a lot of people, but I think watching clients go through that on my end, I can see how, we just all have a different level of what it means
yeah.
to us to be loved and what that looks like.
I love that. I love that. I think that's really an important message for friendships and everybody. I think that's wonderful. Okay, give us one more thing that you've learned doing this.
If you can conquer your budget, you can conquer absolutely anything else.
Mm,
It is the first thing that I give clients after, they come and hire me because a lot of people have no idea. They have a number, right? You have a kind of an idea of what's in your bank account, but when it comes down to taking apart your financial life until you are forced to do that, whether it's by necessity, right? Like if you're the person in the relationship that is in charge of all the finances and paying the bills, you kind of have a good idea. Maybe the other person has no idea. But when you're forced to split everything and then double the expenses, you get really good, or you should get really good about knowing those numbers. Because once I can get my clients to understand the here and now of what they are spending versus what they're going to need to spend, I can help create a life plan going forward that does not absolutely devastate them in the long term because we all know, I mean, divorce is a financial
yeah,
devastation. It just doesn't have to be forever.
right.
And that is one of the things I think watching my clients learn that is so empowering because especially as women, we're taught oh, money is bad and it's the root of all evil. And no, it's not. It's the coolest thing ever. Like money, money doesn't buy happiness, but it buys a lot of really cool shit. And
Mhm.
it also creates a whole lot of not stressors, right? Like if we're a couple weeks from Christmas. If you're sitting around struggling because your ex won't pay child support, you're
Mhm.
about Christmas presents. If I can get you to a point in your journey with me that at the end of your marriage, there is a foreseeable way out financially, you're going to you're going to have a lot better life going forward. You're
Yeah.
also less likely to what I call reoffend, right? And get married for all the wrong reasons again, because
Yeah.
a lot of the reasons why people get married are financial.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. I love all of those. So before we let you go, we always ask one question, which is if somebody's listening to this podcast and they're considering divorce or navigating divorce, what would be some words of encouragement you could leave them with today?
The number one thing that clients tell me when they sit in my office, and it doesn't matter how long they've been married, okay? So in 20 years, I've thousands of divorces. The number one thing people say to me is, I wish I would have done it sooner. Whether that's walking down the aisle, and they've had that thought of, I shouldn't do this, or, whatever circumstance leads them to the finalization of that, almost all of them say, I wish I would have done it sooner. And a majority of the time, that inner voice is right the second that it hits your psyche. And so my encouragement to anybody is if you're already having that thought process, you already know where your heart's at. Start making plans, making a list, know what your life with this other person is, right? A lot of people come to me and they have no idea if they have a 401k, what kind of credit cards they have. They don't know that. And so you are going to spend a whole lot more money on lawyer time, probably therapist time too, when you're trying to collate all that information into a digestible form. If you're having that thought process, and I would say right now before the holidays, people are in the self-sustaining mode. You're just trying to get out of it, right? Like you're trying to get the turkey on the table and the kids, gifts wrapped. You're not trying to like upset that apple cart because most people file after the new year. But a majority of the stories that people tell me as to what led them to my office, this is the dark time. This is the, you know, no one helped or no one, there was nothing in my stocking, right? All those stories. So if you're having those feelings right now, use this time to get prepared. Open those bank statements. Like look at the credit cards. Like know where that spending is coming from because you are going to be a lot better off when you come sit in my office or the hundreds of other lawyers that are close to you. Come January, you're going to spend less money and you're going to feel more on top of your own life. And that is the biggest encouragement I have for people is the more you know about your life and circumstances with your spouse, the more you are going to be able to help me pattern out your future after you don't have a spouse.
Amazing advice, Lindsay. Where can people find you?
So I spend a whole lot of time on Threads and on TikTok, mainly because that's how my kids and I communicate. So I think everywhere I'm Law Life Lindsay. I have a Substack that you can link it to everywhere, but
Mhm.
that's where I usually spend the most of my social media time these days.
Yeah, that's where we met. Amazing, Lindsay. Such great advice. We appreciate it and keep up the good fight because we need you out there. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. It was good to finally meet you in person. In
Yeah,
person.
in person, yeah. Divorce Happens is produced by Fresh Starts Registry, the only divorce registry platform for everything you need to begin again, including home items, hype team, and everything in between. Remember, divorce happens, and then we start fresh. We're here to support you before, during, and after divorce. Head to freshstartsregistry.com for more info.